Jonathan, also known as the PC Genie. Now we're going to talk about nocking, like just basically putting the arrow in the string of the bow and getting ready, and of course just the ways I'm able to get so done sort of faster, sometimes more efficiently. So I'll go over a few ways that I've learnt over the years in terms of what can work. There are other people who recommend faster ways and maybe sometimes better ways, but some of them take more practice, and there are all sorts of ways. There's, you know, as the phrase goes, there are many ways to skin a cat. So I'm going to go through a few ways in which you can nock arrows, because often I see people kind of going, wrong way now. Aha! It's in the string. Okay, now I can just take my shot. Boom, done. What a load of effort. Whereas I can easily just go 1, 2, 3, done. So what I do, well, first I'll go over one of the easier versions that I've found, which is basically one of the things I like to do at Archery Club, because I found my version actually caused a lot of controversy amongst them, because apparently as I'm drawing an arrow out, the back end might hit someone who's staring down my quiver. Please stop staring down the quiver, it's not that fascinating. Keep your eyes away from me. I'm busy shooting things. Anyway, so quite simply, when you're nocking, you just grab a hold of the arrow and you sort of have, you don't grab it in a sort of a hammer grip. I sort of grab it like this, so here I'm just sort of got my fingers along, get a bit of a pinch grip going on, and you'll see easier that way. And basically I'm grabbing somewhere just in front of the fletchings. I'm not being really specific, just going like that. I shouldn't even have to look, in fact I can just be staring at the target and I can instinctively feel the arrows there, which is one of the things that makes it good. So then I just pull it out far enough that I know the point is clear and free to move. I then make sure the bow is maybe slightly, if you can't cant it, if you're an archery club, to make it easier, I find you can just move your bow hand slightly off, or even just cant it very slightly. So rather than going like that, or like that, which I'd more realistically do, you can end up just a bit of that, maybe a bit of that. So you basically, as you can see, it's quite easy to have room around in front and to your, you know, your left or your right, depending on what handed you are. And then I just go, so I'm going here onto the bow, letting it slide down, and then I can use the index finger of my bow hand, and I can just immediately, bam, I can just let it slide along, whatever, catch it, and then while it's in here, so caught in this index finger, it's not going to drop out, it's not going to come free. I can then make sure my fingers here on my string hand go onto the nock, the bit that goes into the string, and then I can just let it slide, place it into the string, and then I'm ready to stand and draw loose. So my version that I like to do a lot is, well, actually I'll go through the other version you can do as well. Bit similar, this time you don't need to cant your bow and do all of that as much. Rather than going around outside like this, we're actually going to go in through the string. So what you do, same sort of thing before. I don't even need to be looking at the arrow ideally, or if you want to you can for your first time. Grab the arrow somewhere near the fletchings, draw it out, same as before, just until the point is clear so you've got free movement. And then this time I'm feeding the point of the arrow in between the string and the stave. So I'm basically doing this, it's like I'm threading a giant needle. So I'm just going out, in through there. I can do the same thing again where I fed it through and just let it slide along the stave, catch it with this index finger here on my bow hand. I can then slide with my sort of, you know, my string hand, let it slide. This time it's going under rather than over, but it's the same kind of concept. Slide, let it go into the string, draw loose, boom. Now my version, which I'm not sure I've seen anybody else doing, maybe it's because I'm slightly autistic and do things differently to any normal people, but it's worth a try. So what I do is, rather than doing what I've mentioned before, where you sort of grab the arrow like that, so you're ready to draw it out, like that, instead I actually just use my index finger and my middle finger. So the entire rest of the hand is almost irrelevant. So again, same sort of thing. I'm actually going rather like that, going this upside down. I just go, you know, like that, just wherever I've found an arrow, boom. And then this time, I'm pulling it out, and as I'm doing that, I actually have a bit of this sort of motion going. I've got this sort of pushing forwards with my index finger. I'm pulling backwards with my middle finger. I'm doing a bit of this. I'm not doing it rough. I don't want to bend and snap the arrow, especially if it's spined for a weaker bow, because it will just bend and snap. I'm putting just enough pressure that I know I can feel when it's ready, and then as soon as the point is clear, it does that automatically. See that? I'll show you again. So as soon as the point is cleared out, boom. It's just, I'm not even putting any more pressure, I'm not using special force. It just naturally and instinctively, because I'm putting some pressure on there, it just starts the movement, and then it just carries itself the rest of the way there with momentum. And I can just close my hand in, and I'm like that. So, yeah, it's like this in my hand. So what's happening is, I can then do that, and same as with the first one I mentioned, where you're pulling it out like that, I just have my bow slightly off to the side, maybe canted a bit, you know, maybe horizontal if I need to, not recommended. But I just make sure there's a space around up and to the left so I can put my arrow somewhere. And then the rest follows on the same as before. So, doing that. So I've just closed my hand. Here it is, the bow. Catch it with my index finger of my bow hand. Into the nock. Draw. Loose. So then, fast I just go. Here it is, there's the bow. There it is in a string. Draw. Loose. So that's how I nock arrows, just in case that helps you guys with, you know, doing that sort of thing faster, because I know some people kind of struggle and they're there going kind of, you know, trying to get the arrow on the bow for a long time. It's a bit silly to watch, so that might help you. And sorry for the weather and the stuff in the background, but that's life, it's winter. See more of my videos for